Was there a point at which you recognized that what you were looking for on the psychedelics wasn't going to be found there? And what was the point at which you realized actually the thing you were looking for was in the last place you expected it? You know, this
Hmm.
story of Jesus and so on.
Yeah. So I remember I had an experience, and the timeline is kind of murky to me. I can't remember if this is when I was pregnant or I remember I was sitting on our front porch and I just felt a voice say to me, it's time to quit LSD. Like it's time to give up LSD. It's time to stop. And I remember I started weeping because the thought that just naturally occurred to me was, but LSD is my friend. Like LSD is my teacher. LSD is my
Mm.
God. I don't know that I thought it in those exact terms at the time, but LSD was my God. That was I didn't trust my God, certainly not anymore, but LSD was certainly my God. And I knew the voice, and I recognize it now as the voice of God. Like I know, um, even then I knew it was right and it was true. But like I said, I was still kicking against the goads, and I thought,
Mm.
then I got it in my head, like, well, maybe the problem is that LSD is a chemical. Like LSD is a chemical. It's made in a laboratory, and maybe the problem is that I need to turn to natural psychedelics again. And I had, even in the course of LSD was my favorite psychedelic. It was the one that I would choose to do, if it was at all available. But I had here and there, over the intervening years, had some psilocybin trips and had tried salvia, and I always came back to LSD because it was my favorite. But I thought, okay, I need to go back to natural, quote unquote, plant medicines, which is a term you'll hear a lot in the psychedelic world. And so I decided I was going to grow my own mushrooms. And my husband was able to get some spores from someone he knew. And so I undertook with vigor, I undertook this process of of growing mushrooms. And it took, I can't remember how long it took, several weeks anyway, a couple months. And I thought, I prayed over this. I don't know what my prayers would have been, some kind of Sanskrit thing I learned from yoga. But I prayed over them, and I thought, I am infusing them with the right energy, and therefore I'm going to have a good trip. Like this is going to be a great experience. I'm infusing them with good vibes. And I remember finally the harvest came, and my husband and I, we arranged for babysitting for our kids, at my parents' house. Sorry to my mom. And we took the mushrooms, and as soon as they started coming on, and I remember it was really strong, I just had this feeling like, oh no, just this sinking feeling of like, here we go again. It's the same place, the same rut in the road, the same, like it is. I'm going downhill. It's a bad trip again. And
Mm.
I remember just laying on the floor. I lay down on the floor, and I said to my husband, like, I really am dying this time. Like I'm dying. I'm dying this time. And I said, does anything mean anything? And he said, yes, everything has meaning. And I started crying. And that trip was, oh, it was up and down and up and down and all over the place. And I remember at one point I felt like I was chasing after God. I was pacing around our house, and I felt like I was chasing after God, and I just kept missing him. And there was such a sorrowful, like his robes were whisking around the corner, and there was such a sorrowful feeling in it. And there was a sorrow for me too. And like, this didn't work. My foolproof plan, it didn't work. And I was devastated, but I was also, after that, I was fully ready to move on. And I was, and I,
Mm.
yeah, I just knew that it was over.